And when I came out of it, I had to take some time off to study the normal environment because you can't saying good morning to an inmate is really, it's like, what? You can't say good morning. So you always in the defense mode. Like, I got to defend myself. You know what I mean? I was so mad. I was like, I hate it here. I don't want to be here. So somewhere during the line, my shift got canceled. I was like, she called me in the office. I will never forget. She said, "Oh, unfortunately, we have to end your assignment." I said, "Oh, thank you so much." My coworkers were like, "Oh my God, you need a lot of money, girl. You must get a lot of money to invest in real estate." And I was like, "How can you invest in real estate with no money?" I was just trying to get out. So that's what I started doing.
How much did you earn from that first deal? What?
Yes.
You must have
I said,
been
I'm quitting my
sold.
job.
Yeah. I would have been sold. I'm like, this is it. I'm not working ever again. What is up, guys? Jason here. Welcome back to the channel and our series, Nurses to Riches, The Road to Fire. In this episode, I'm going to be speaking with a nurse who moved from Cameroon, Africa to Columbus, Ohio. She worked as a CNA, became an LPN, got her RN license, and then got a job as a correctional facility nurse. She took on a few travel assignments before she realized that her dream was to work for herself and own a real estate investing business, but she had no money to start. So I'm going to be speaking with her about how she was able to create a business in the real estate wholesaling industry with very little to no money down and take it to a point where she is now generating $30,000 per month. Now, Christy, tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is that you currently do for a living.
All right. So a little bit about me. I pretty much started my career when I came to the States, and this was through a visa lottery. So came into the States. My original location was Columbus, Ohio. And, at the time, my uncle was like, nursing is the thing. You got to go to nursing school. Income is good. You're going to get a job right away. So I was just, following the lead. I was like, okay, cool. No background in nursing whatsoever. And I went into nursing. I secured me a job while I was going to school. I started working as a CNA. So that income helped me purchase my first car. It was a Toyota Avalon at the time, 1999. It was a 1999 Toyota Avalon. That helped me purchase my first car, and that also helped pay some of my bills during nursing school. So transitioning from that, I used to pick up a lot of extra shifts, and I decided, you know what, let me go to school and just further my education. And then I got my LPN license. So I pretty much went through the nursing ladder. So I got my LPN license, and I was so excited at the time. And I started out working on the vent unit. So that really, really helped mold me into getting into a fast-paced environment. And I remember working full time and also going to become a registered nurse. I was going to clinicals. I will leave and go to clinicals right after that and then go back home like back to back. And you know how clinicals is. Sometimes it's crazy. Sometimes my location was about 2 hours away, so I have to leave early, request permission from work so I can go leave early. And it was hard, but at the same time, I'm grateful that my employer at the time, she understood, because prior to her hiring me, I said, I'm going to nursing school and I'm a registered nurse. So that already lets them know that I'm going to need time to be able to go for clinicals when need be. So I was able to juggle between a full-time job and also going to school full-time for a couple of years, and then graduated and got my RN license, which I was so excited. And transitioned to the same job as an RN, but I decided, you know what, it's time for me to go up the ladder. And I started out working at the state. I worked for the state in prison. I was one of those prison nurses, correctional nurses. So I worked at the corrections for about 3 years. But then I decided, like, I want to explore life. I want to see what's outside these four walls of a correctional facility. The pay was amazing. I started traveling. I just out of the blue started traveling just for fun. But traveling just for fun opened my mind to a lot of things. And one of them was travel nursing. So I met a nurse on one of my trips, and we got talking, and I said, what do you do? She said she's a nurse. And I said, what's your specialty? And I think she was med surg. And she said, oh, I'm a travel nurse. I was like, what does that mean? She's like, I travel wherever, pick up shift and, go to whatever state. I can make my own schedule. And I was like, wait, can I try that? She's like, yeah, absolutely. You don't need nothing. How long have you been a nurse? And I told her how long I've become a nurse. And it's like, let me try that. So I actually went through her company at the time because I had no experience. I had experience as a nurse, but I had no experience as a travel nurse. So she was able to hook me up with her recruiter. And then my first journey to travel nursing, that's how it got started pretty much. And I got transitioned into travel nursing. I quit my job, came back, put in my 2 weeks notice because I was so excited about the idea. I'm like, oh my God, I got to start traveling. I have my schedule on my hands. Let's get on the road. So I quit my job and they're like, you're crazy. You're just traveling? I said, yeah, I'm just traveling. Yeah. I just got off, went to California. That was my number one spot. Everybody kept saying California is where you make the money. So I was like, let's follow the money. But I came to California and I loved it in California. So pretty much that's a little bit of background about me just in the travel nursing field. And along the line, I got my bachelor's and, things started taking a better turn after that.
Great. Okay, so you gave me a lot to work with. First, you said you were a CNA, LPN, and an RN, then an RN. But I want to know what country did you come from? Because you said you landed in Columbus, Ohio.
So I came from Cameroon, born and raised in Cameroon.
Oh, wow. So at what age did you move to the US?
When I was 20 years old.
Yeah. And how was the process of coming to the US? Because you weren't a nurse yet. So what was the paperwork like and how long did it take for you to get into the US?
So the paperwork, I came in with my mom. So
Mm,
pretty much she did everything and I came
mm,
in as her child. So I
got
just really did not have to do any paperwork because she's
it.
presented all the supporting documents to prove that I was her child. And so everything they gave to her, they equally gave it to me, like a visa,
Yeah.
US citizenship. So once I got here, then I was treated as an individual. But up until that process,
Mhm.
everything just came from my mom, from showing that she's your child, and then from to showing proof of the fact that I was going to school at the time as well, and to showing that I was going to school and I had some form of education. So it just kind of submit your document alongside with your child's document. So we didn't even have to do a DNA because I look just like her.
Is that a thing? I didn't know that was even a thing.
Sometimes they make you do it. But
Wow.
when we got to the airport for the interview, they're like, "Oh my God, mm, this part is not going to be taken care of." So they just kind of wave that.
That's so funny. So at what age did you become a CNA?
I became a CNA. So when you get here, you have to be here for I think about 6 months or so. So right after that, during that 6 months period, I used my green card to be able to go and get into the CNA school, which was about 2 weeks. So I kind of like just got into it with my uncle's guidance at the time. So when I got here, he helped us get together to get in the CNA school. So about once I got my social security, which was about 30 to 60 days, I had to go apply at the CNA school. So you just go in, you pay about $350. Also, it was a 2 week course, and after the 2 weeks, they help you with placement and applying for a job. And getting the CNA job at that time was pretty easy. So you just need a little bit of experience in your field and just showing that you graduated, and that's pretty much it.
Wow. And what does your uncle do for a living?
He's a supervisor. He's close to retirement now. He's a supervisor at one of the state facilities.
Oh, and but the reason I ask is because he said you should be an RN, but
He's
he's
an
not an
RN
RN.
too.
Oh, he's an
He's an RN.
RN.
Yeah.
I see. So do you think that was good advice that he gave you?
Oh, yes, it was an amazing advice. One of the takeaways was that, because looking at everything right now, you have to make nursing work for you. That's what I have learned, right? When I was going in, that was all I knew: nursing, nursing, nursing. And I have to work as a nurse, and it comes with some kind of prestige. maybe not now anymore, but back in the days, it came with some kind of prestige. On top of that, the income is stable. You can always go back when things get rough. But reflecting on all of it, you have to make it work for you. So whatever it is you're going there for, money, whatever it is, you have to be able to use that as a leverage to get what you want. And yes, I'm absolutely grateful that he pointed me towards that direction, because during the COVID, when people lost their jobs, at the end of the day, we still had jobs. It was
Yeah.
stressful, but we had a career that we can go back. Oh my God, I'm going back into the hospital, and they will gladly take you.
Yeah. So, how was your experience working in a correctional facility?
Whew. No cell phones. So that was
Really?
the number. Yeah. So when
Oh.
I got a job, he was like, I know you like to be on your phone a lot, but I'm just gonna tell you, you cannot be on your phone. I was like, what? I
Oh.
I said, wait, let me think about it. I said, no cell phones. He said, yeah, no cell phones. It has to be in your car. And it's not a thing where you can go there every 15 minutes to check on your phone. No. So it's so secure that you're going in and going out, coming out has to be accounted for. So that was one of the things I had to juggle between. But once I started, and I got into it, it created a sense of discipline for me to know that at some point in time I don't have to be with my phone. So sometimes I'll go. Initially, I'll go like every 2 hours, but after a while, I just would just stay the entire shift without going out. So after that, but getting in there, it's a really different environment. The way you talk, the way you position yourself, what you wear, it's different. So you
Mm.
cannot be so revealing to the public. Like, if you have to wear scrubs, it has to be free scrubs. You know how nowadays we want to wear joggers that is tight,
Yeah.
and you have to present yourself in a very strict way per se. Like you cannot, when you're standing, you cannot stand with your behind
Wow.
to an inmate, as they call it. So you got to be really very aware of your environment, and they give you all this training as well. So it's really different. And when I came out of it, I had to take some time off to study the normal environment,
Wow.
because you can't saying good morning to an inmate is really, it's like, what? You can't say
Mm.
good morning. So you're always in the defense mode. Like, I got to
Mm.
defend myself. You know what I mean? So I had to shift from that when I came out, because sometimes I come up a little bit aggressive. When I came out, I noticed that, because that's pretty
Mm.
much how you present yourself over there. You have to be very firm and aggressive. So that helps set boundaries. But that was the adjustment I faced. That was just, and overall, it was a good experience, but it's a whole different setting. It's completely
Mm.
different. Nothing to the real world is different, because you're dealing with people who have people who are inmates who have committed certain things, and they have certain restrictions on their records. And above all, it's a big security issue as well. So
Mm.
everything has to be accounted for. Syringes have to be accounted for. We count everything. So
Mm.
it's when I came out, I was telling things were like, oh, we're not counting this. So it was different. It's a completely different environment for anybody trying to get into it. If you're going in for the money, that's great. But outside of that, it molds you to be somebody you might not want to be.
It almost sounds like you had to play the role of an inmate yourself, because inmates are not exposed to the real world. And then when they come out, they have to adjust themselves for things that they missed out so much out on while they were locked up. So for you, you experienced a completely different world of nursing that doesn't really exist outside of the correctional facility setting. So then you had to just readjust your entire, like, the way you present yourself, the way you speak to your patients, the way you view nursing is completely different outside of the correctional facility. I mean, the medicine portion is probably the same, right? Like you're still treating the patient in the same way. Like you medicate them, you titrate the drips, you if you have to give them an injection, you do it the same way, but the way you treat the patients is different, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm.
And you know how now, oh, I'm your nurse, you come and you smile,
Yeah.
you want to know their background? No. I don't need
Mm.
to know your background. It's personal at that point. You guys are crossing boundaries. You just here, hey, Mr. X, Y, and Z, this is your medication. It is for this, that, and that is pretty much it. And you get out. And also, you have a correctional officer working with you to every
Mhm.
cell to give out meds. So you're not just walking around freelance by yourself
Yeah.
because of security. So all of those things was really an adjustment.
Wow. And do you mind sharing how much you were earning?
Okay, let's see. So I
It's a state job,
wouldn't.
so it's public information. You might as well share it.
Let's put it this way. I would say
Mhm.
it was way better than the average $25 an hour.
Wow.
It comes with a lot of stipends from
Mm.
your shift differential to security. They give you security stipend. They give you there's a lot of things tied into it. So sometimes I kind of get confused myself on how much I was earning, to be honest with you. But I know that it was more decent, and also you get quarterly pay for your uniforms, which is one of the things I really
Oh,
love because every quarter you get a pay increase, or sometimes you get like a check of about $350 for your uniforms for the quarter.
mm, mm.
And so those things kind of tied into it, but I would say give and take about as a new grad at that time, it was about close to 35 with everything included, but it
Yeah.
went up real quick. It really
Uh,
did because you get
wow.
raises every single time.
Yeah. That's pretty good for that specific area that you were located in then. And how long did you last in the correctional facility before you decided to get into travel nursing?
I was there for 3 years.
Wow, that's a pretty good amount of time to get enough experience before you got into travel nursing because a lot of people are like new grads. They're like, hey, can I start as a travel nurse right now? And most seasoned nurses are going to be like, no, maybe you should do at least 1 to 2 years as a staff nurse before you go into travel nursing. But you gave it 3 years, so that's pretty good. And then you decided to, you said, was it your first travel gig in California?
It was actually it wasn't my first travel gig because before you go to California, you got to go through their licensing system and
Yeah.
it takes a long time. So what I did was I picked an assignment in and I got fired from that one, okay? So my first travel assignment I picked, it was in North Dakota. It was cold and I did not know anything. And so anybody trying to travel, I always encourage you guys to do your research on the location and the hospital, and are they traveler friendly? Because some hospitals are not travelers friendly, and the location as well. So this was a real small town close to Canada, and the pay was amazing, which I did not know why the pay was amazing. So I picked up that assignment. I got in there real quick too. So I picked up that assignment, and I was to move to Texas. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to Texas. I just want to travel. So I got on the road, drove over there in the middle of the winter. It was like a one-way road, like going in and coming out. So I
Mhm.
am stuck in this road my first time. And I got there and there was no hotel. Everywhere was closed. So it's like, what is going on? This is where you have no guidance, right? You have no mentor. Nobody's telling you what to do. So it was going in and coming out. And I got there at the hospital and I didn't know where to go. So I was stuck for a while. I think I slept in my car then, if I must remember. I spent the night in my car. And then the next day, when places were open, I had to drive around to figure out where to stay. And I found a sign of a guy renting his place. And that was pretty much how I got there. The rent was cheap, it was about $500 a month, which was great. The
Oh.
pay was amazing, but it was a terrible assignment. So
Mm.
I remember I kept calling my friend. I said, I hate this place. Oh my God, I hate it here. It's crazy. I don't want to be here. And then it's like, what you bring something to yourself. So 2 weeks prior to my assignment getting canceled, I remember I walked in that day. I was so exhausted and burned out. I said, I hate it here. I don't want to be here. And I got fired that day.
Oh, that sucks. But for you, that was a blessing, right?
It was a blessing. Oh my
Mm.
God. It was a blessing. And I say this to say that when you go in a place and you really don't know, I picked first shift. I'm a night shift person and I wanted to do something for a change. So
Mhm.
I was working first shift. Now, what they would do to you as a traveler, they take breaks at 8 o'clock. We start at 6:30, 7 o'clock, but they take their breakfast at 8 o'clock. So at 8 o'clock, all of the nurses leave the floor and go to the cafeteria to eat.
Hmm.
So I observed this for a while and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is cool. Let me try that. So
Hmm.
I took my travel self down to the cafeteria to go eat. And when I came back, they were like, who asked you to leave the floor? I said, everybody's
Wow.
doing it. They've been doing it for a while. So I said to go eat breakfast. They're like, well,
Hmm.
you can't just leave the floor. So that already was like,
Hmm.
no, well, we
Yeah.
have to have a conversation because this is not going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
So that kind of tipped them off there because I think they felt like you're trying to do what they're doing because they're the regular staff over there. But I thought it was normal. I thought it was normal to
Yeah.
go grab something to eat. But so all of that kind of started creating tension because when they see you being so bold and trying to do what they do, it turns them off the wrong way. They're like, no, you're a stranger. Yeah, you can't do that. That's not allowed.
Mm.
And you have certain things attached to it. So that was the
Yeah.
day when I said, it just came out. I was so mad. I was like, I hate it here. I don't want to be here. So
Mm.
somewhere during the line, my shift got canceled. I was like, she called me in the office. I will never forget. She said, oh, unfortunately, we have to end your assignment. I said, oh, thank you so much. And then she was like, what?
But see, the one thing that a lot of people, especially new grads, don't realize is that it's so easy to get a job as a nurse. And if you're not happy in your current situation, you can always leave and you can find something a week later, 2 weeks later. It's just that easy, especially when you have experience, right?
And
So,
that is true.
yeah. So, what did you
That is
do after you
true.
got fired?
Because I remember when I was trying to quit that assignment, I called my recruiter and I said, I want to leave. I don't like it here. And he said, you can't do that. So that was my first assignment. My recruiter is telling me I can't do it. He said, your license is going to be taken away. He was already threatening me and I was scared. So I was like, let me just push through until the end. I had no idea you could just leave an assignment. It was after that assignment that I had to do my research and realize that as long as they can fire you, you can as well fire yourself or fire them and keep it moving.
Uh,
But like you said, it's always good for nurses to realize that yes, you can leave an assignment at any time if you're not happy on there.
yeah. And then where did you go after that? And did you continue working with the same recruiter?
No, I did not continue working with the same recruiter. She just left me. She just literally just abandoned me. Never got a
Mm.
call from her. I got one email saying your assignment has been canceled, and that was it. But what I did was during that time, I was getting my California license together with another company who had committed to them that if they helped me get my California license, I was going to work with them for an assignment. So right after that assignment was done, I came home. I was home for like 2 weeks, and my California license then arrived, and I got up on another job with them because they helped me get that job, and that was one of my best assignments actually.
Wow. And where did you end up in California for your first assignment there?
Oh, I started out in gosh, it wasn't San Francisco. It was close to San Francisco.
Was it
Oof.
San Jose?
No, no, it wasn't San Jose. It was close to San. I really can't remember the name.
That not Daly City, Berkeley, uh, Oakland.
Oakland.
Okay,
Yeah.
in
So I
Oakland. Yeah.
started out over there, and I remember I used to take the train because I did not have my car at the time. So I used to
Oh,
take a train, and it's very train friendly.
wow. And what unit were you working in there?
Med surge.
Interesting. Do you remember what the pay was like?
So okay, that's one math I don't know how to do, but I know at that point it made financial sense to me because it
Yeah.
was about before taxes,
Mhm.
it was about 30 something
Yeah.
hundred a week. And then
Mhm.
it kind of, when I started realizing it too late, when they're taking taxes out, you're really not walking away with a lot. And
Mhm.
then I'm doing the math for my stay and all that stuff. The math was not
Yeah.
mathing anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, because you also need a tax home, right? So you need to pay rent or mortgage to a location that's back home, or at least like 50 miles away from where you're currently working as a traveler, right?
Yes,
So
you
were
do.
you paying rent or mortgage somewhere else in another state?
Initially, I was.
Yeah.
Initially, I was paying for my apartment in
Mhm.
Columbus, but I had to realize real quick that I had to get rid of that because it was like I was working for free. Nothing
Yeah.
was coming in to stay, paying at both places. So I had to move everything and put it into storage. And
Mm,
I practically moved in with my mom
mm,
because she's still over there. I was like, Mommy, I gotta, cancel my lease and somehow moving with you. So that was one of the lessons I learned. Like you have to figure out things out before you get on the road,
mm,
especially where who is going to be paying your rent. So what are you going to do about it?
mm. Oh, gotcha. And do you remember, because you said you were working in Oakland, do you remember around what year that was in?
This was around 2014, 13, 14, 15, end of 2015.
I see. And why was it
Yeah.
your favorite assignment?
You know, California has this vibe of fresh air. It has this vibe. I get that vibe of relief. It's like you're in a completely different environment because Columbus, Ohio is cold, extremely cold. So with me living there and coming to California with the sunshine, it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. And it
Mhm,
has more variety. I remember there's this restaurant I went to. It's like a gratitude restaurant. The menu is just all about gratitude. So it has a lot of different options and things that I was looking for at the time. And that just
mhm,
kind of got me stuck. So even on my days off, really did not feel like, oh my God, I'm in the middle of nowhere because I had something to do every single time. I was all about exploring
yeah.
California. So
Mm,
I'm either going to LA to figure what's over there, or I'm either trying to figure out what's the next beach to go walk on the beach. So I actually was doing something every single time.
interesting. And do you have any siblings?
Yes, I do. I have a brother and a sister. They're
Oh,
all in the
wow.
United States.
And are they all back in Columbus, Ohio?
No, no, my sister is in Texas and my brother is in Columbus, Ohio.
I see. So while you were traveling, did you have time to go see your family every now and then?
Yes, I did because that was the flexibility of traveling. I just wanted to not be tied, not be committed to something. I want
Mm,
to have the free will to just go. So
yeah.
sometimes I'll be like, I'm out. So I'll make assignment to end. I'll be like, no, I don't want to pick up any assignments. I had that time to actually structure myself. And at some point in time, they will give you like 2 weeks. You had this option to work for 2 weeks and be
Mhm,
off for 2 weeks. So I felt like that was really amazing because that gave me the freedom to go back home and spend time with family or just take a
mm,
vacation to somewhere because I love to travel.
interesting. So during this whole time, you're traveling as a nurse. What is your plan to just continue traveling? Do you just want to be a travel nurse for the rest of your life at this point?
No. When I
Okay.
started traveling, one of the things I got into was thinking. It helped me. I tried to figure out what it is I want for myself. Like, what do I want to do? Sometimes I'll come home, I'll be like, then what? You know, I stumbled upon this nurse. I remember she was heavily pregnant and she was looking like she was about to have a baby. And I was like, oh my God, you look real like you're about to have a baby. When are you due? And why are you still walking? It's not in that condition. I don't want to be walking. So I asked her, and she's like, well, we just need these extra hours just in case. So that was an adjustment for me. I'm seeing myself not trying to walk when I'm heavily pregnant. And then I was like, how can you not work when I started to get literally Googling how to retire, right? Then I'm on YouTube trying to figure my life out. How can I make money not working as a nurse? And then real estate popped up in front of me on YouTube. So I got intrigued on real estate and I started to find out different avenues on investing in real estate. I remember at the time, my coworkers were like, oh my God, you need a lot of money, girl. You must get a lot of money to invest in real estate. And I was like, how can you invest in real estate with no money? I was just trying to get out. So that's what I started doing after seeing that nurse with that big belly. And I'm just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to come into work, but I have to find another way to make money because if you're not working, there's only so much money that they can pay you until after a while, then they stop paying you. And I didn't want to be in that situation. Pretty much to me, that was where reality kicked in for me. And I started Googling stuff, YouTubing stuff until I stumbled upon my first mentor on YouTube.
And do you have the mentor's name by any chance? Because people always ask me, who's the mentor that taught her?
No, I have quite a few. So the
Okay.
first part, he was on YouTube. Information was it was amazing. He wasn't selling anything. He was just putting an educational content out there, and I
Mhm,
had gone through a lot of mentors before that. So I was like, this is kind of cool. So I just subscribed to all of his free stuff he had to offer. Literally watched every step of it, and then I decided to invest in his mentorship when I think I sent him I commented on one of his videos in that's how I got back with him on
mhm,
YouTube, and he replied back to me. So he replied back to me on YouTube, and his name is Tommy. His name is Tommy Holt. Tommy Holt. He's an amazing mentor. This is not
mhm.
me trying to sell to anybody,
Yeah.
but me and him share a very close friendship now. But he took me, like, held my hand from point A to point B. And
Mm.
I highly recommend to everybody, not because I want the money. It's not affiliated with anything, but he was just one of those mentors that sees you.
And what was it that he was teaching you about real estate that really made an impact on you?
What he was teaching was about how to, I'm not sure if anybody said about wholesaling, but pretty much how to wholesale houses at the time. That was what he was teaching. Because remember, I was trying to find out how to get in real estate with no money down. Because I was working money as a nurse, but I was always on the road traveling, spending all that money. So I really did not have a lot. Like my friends said, you need a lot of money. So I didn't have a lot of money at the time to get into real estate. So
Mm,
somehow that was what YouTube presented to me, how to get into real estate with no money down. And so
mm.
he was teaching us how to wholesale houses.
And how much did you pay for his mentorship program at the time? It's probably
And
much more expensive now.
oh yeah, it's way more expensive now.
Mhm,
So this is the kind of person I am. When I want something, I want you to myself. If I want your mentorship, I want you. Okay. And now
mhm,
group coaching is amazing. And, sometimes you want to be in the room with everybody, but I want to be able to get that personalized attention. So initially, I paid for one-on-one mentorship, and that was about 5,000 at the
mhm,
time with him, and that I think that helped me also stay in communication with him up until this day.
mhm,
Because I invested in that, and then I got access to him, and we've just stayed in contact throughout. Now he's more like a life coach when I have
mhm,
just other hurdles in life because he's evolved into different things now. So that kind of paved the way for me. I just signed up for one-on-one mentorship, and I said I want you all to myself because I'm brand new and I don't know what I'm doing. That was about
yeah.
$5,000.
That's actually not as high as I was expecting it, believe it or not, because like I know nurses that are charging $30,000 for a mentorship program. So that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's really good.
Mm.
That's pretty good.
So
And another thing is that
mhm,
if you can pay for it, pay for it. If you see the value in it,
yeah,
do it because it will get
yeah,
you to where you want to be. And that wholesale, that program, $5,000 alone, I've
mhm,
more than quadrupled that. But I've
mm,
had a lot of opportunities just getting in the room personally with him.
mhm. Wow. So how did your first deal go? And for people who don't know what wholesaling real estate is, can you explain it to them?
So wholesaling real estate means that you get a house. I, Christy, get a house and give it to you, and come. I have a house for sale, and you approach me and you say you're interested in my property. Okay, you're gonna pay me $10,000. Okay, I'm interested in your property, but I'll pay you $10,000, and I'll sell it to Nicole for 15,000, and I'll take the difference in between. So my negotiation skill to get your house for 10,000 and sell it to Nicole got me a difference of $5,000, and that gets into my pocket.
Mhm. Love it. And that's also known, is it also known as assignment of contract? or
Yes,
something
so I
to that
signed my
effect.
rights and my contract to Nicole. Yes,
Mm.
for a fee.
And you're got it. And you don't need any money down for this type of real estate investing, correct?
I would say you need little to no money. Back in the day, you there's a way you can do the no money down, but now I would say you need little to no money. It just depends on which route you want to take and how bad you want it.
Mm,
So I would highly say you need little to no money down in it because you have to pay for certain services like gas. If you just want to drive for dollars, like just look for abandoned houses, you have to
mhm,
put gas in your car to do that. So
mhm,
if you want to find an owner, there's certain websites where to get exclusive access to owners, you got to pay for that. So you need
mhm.
money for that. So you need some kind of funding for something. It's
Is
not a
that
huge investment that you need, but you do need money.
so? Is are those signs that I see all over the place that say we buy and sell houses? Are those usually wholesalers that are trying to get people to sell them or give them the house so that they can sell it to somebody else and collect the fee?
Yes, that's pretty much it. In 95% of that, yes.
Interesting, interesting. So how long did it take for you to make your first sale?
Quick. It took me two
Wow,
weeks.
what? Were you nervous at all?
I was nervous, I was extremely nervous because I have an accent, so that's a huge barrier to me. So I was really nervous, like, oh my God. Sometimes they say, I can't understand you. What are you saying? So my first my first contract was I was driving for dollars. That cost me only gas in my car. We got on a call that day and he gave me a game plan. So what he did was he will only teach you what you need for the week. He doesn't just give you everything. So he said, this is what you're gonna do this week. And when you come back, we're gonna do that. So he gave me an assignment for the week. I went ahead, drove for dollars, and I found my first contract. And I called him. I remember I was driving, I was so excited. I said, what next? I have a property. So pretty much that was what we did. He said it will not make sense if I just give you everything. I got to give it to you step by step. So that was the first step. I got that property really much in 2 weeks' time. I got my first deal, and then he pretty much taught me how to find it buy, and that property closed 2 weeks after that.
How much did you earn from that first deal?
12,000.
What?
Yes.
You must have
Hanson, I'm
been
quitting my
sold. Yeah, yeah, I would have been sold. I'm like, this is it. I'm not working ever again. Wow.
job.
Oh my gosh. So, how did you feel when you made that first sale, when the contract was signed and you got that money deposited in your bank account?
Oh, I didn't have to work for that as much as I work as a nurse. My God, I felt like, is this real? I'm a boss. Wait, I can just drive around and just sell this and take that and get paid.
Yeah.
It was one of the easiest thing I had to do to get money. It
Mm.
was so unreal. I was scared because I was like, oh my God, is this even like I can really do a lot, but I'm getting paid. I was so scared. He was like, it's okay, just relax. And I called him. I still have a picture of that check, and I said, I'm quitting my job. And he laughed so hard because he said, not so fast. It was amazing. It was a great
Yeah,
feeling. Independence. That's what it felt to me.
yeah.
I felt like I was
And
independent
what part of the country did this sale take place in?
in Georgia.
In Georgia.
Hmm.
So, were you living in Georgia at the time?
Yes, I had just moved here because I
Interesting.
found him on YouTube during the COVID. So I found him on YouTube during the COVID, and then I moved over here, and
Oh,
then
so
that
this
was
just
out because of that.
so you just started in like 2020, 2021, around that time, right?
Yes, just right when the COVID hit.
Wow. Okay, so you made your first sale. Was every sale after that just as easy, or would you say not really?
No, it wasn't as easy. I think the first one is the universe testing you to
Yeah.
see, but it wasn't as easy. After that, it became reality kicked in of what you really need to do to get your
Mm.
second and your third deal and just how you need to scale after that. Because the first one you drove for dollars, you got a deal. Whatever it is you do with that income after that is what really gonna pave the way for more deals to come in.
Now, did you question at any point you're leaving the nursing profession? Then you say to yourself, maybe I should go back to working as a nurse.
Yes, I did.
Okay, when did you start having those thoughts and why?
When you go through a month, the money comes in and the income is great and you're excited about it, um, with no guidance on how to, invest or reinvest your funds, you find yourself through what is called, I don't know if it's called a dry season or a down season. You find yourself through a downtime and you regret and like, I did not use the funds that came in the right way the first time, right? So at some point I felt like, oh my God, maybe I should not have done this, or maybe I shouldn't have quit my job. But what I said is to say that the leverage, the fact that you have a nursing job and that paper, that's your leverage right there. So use it until you can no longer use it. Even if it's just PRA. So just keep using it because it's gonna help you in the long haul when you're fully structured to doing what you really want to do.
Mm.
So that's when I was like, why did I quit again? Maybe I should go back, because now you need all these things, but you've lost that leverage of a nurse. So you're hanging on to a thread of one thing and you're trying to figure out what to do next. So this is when you get creative, right? What do I know? Who do I have to sell to get more money coming in? And then you kind of sound desperate. So I was in a position where I didn't want to be desperate to have to sell just because I gotta get it. But it instilled in me some sense of discipline for future funds coming in, and also another sense of I will never advise you to quit your job to get
Mhm.
into something full time just because you have a first paycheck.
Yeah, makes sense. Wow. Yeah, because I've known nurses who have quit their jobs and they didn't really have a plan. Like, well, they had a plan B, and their plan B was their business, but they didn't have an alternative in case their business didn't do well, didn't bring in the revenue that they expected it to. And luckily for these nurses, they actually did fairly well. Like one nurse that I interviewed, she was making like $96 per hour as a staff nurse in UCLA. And she quit her job to go and run a med spa business full time that she was, it was initially like a side hustle for her. And then she turned it into a full blown business. And now she coaches other nurses on how to start their own med spa business. But like this year, she's on track to making over $500,000 net for the year. Yeah, so it's not something she would have been able to do as a staff nurse, that's for sure.
Right,
So,
right.
so then okay, so you made this first sale, but then you realized the sales subsequent to this weren't as easy as the first one. And then how did you approach your tactics? What was your method of getting clients and securing those sales after you fumbled up a little bit, like you messed up a little bit and you felt like you weren't succeeding in the same way?
So after that first, so when I told him I was going to quit, he advised me on what to do with those
Mhm,
funds and how to scale. So what
mhm,
what I did was that in my mind, I had to switch. I had to go from, okay, consider it your nursing job, right? You've
mhm,
clocked in, you're taking care of
mhm,
a patient. A
mhm,
sense of discipline had to kick in because I have nobody telling me to wake up. So I had to wake up and set myself from 8 to 5. This is what I am doing. No
mhm,
distraction. Because if I don't do that, I get fired. But I'm my own boss. So
mhm,
I had to switch up that way. And then I had to get into the mindset of reading a lot of books and just listening to other things of other successful entrepreneurs, what they did with their income or their profit when it came in and how to reinvest that. So that was something that it just kind of came to me as you try to figure things out, you get more things coming to you because you're trying to figure it out. So I just found myself in the space of a lot of entrepreneurs and just learning from what it is they're doing with their funds when it comes in and how to better prepare myself to scale. Because at that point, yes, I made that money driving for dollars, but how do I scale to get more of those deals coming in?
mhm. Yeah. And so do you remember how much you made that first year?
Oh, that first year, I started in November. So that was in November, and that was my only
Oh,
deal that month. It's
hmm.
about 12,000. But that was it for me. So that pretty much closed in December, and then January we got up to let's scale the business. So pretty much I started the whole new year on top of that, and that was when I made about a little bit over 100,000 over that year. Yeah,
Wow, yeah, wow. And that was in 2021 or 2022?
that was the year of the COVID. The next year, because the
Oh, so
COVID went for a full
yeah.
blown year.
Wow,
Hmm.
so you've been doing this for 3 years now, going on four.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Okay. And how did you scale up from year one to year two? What is it that you were doing differently in year two?
I had to start putting certain systems in place. I had to start, this is where you see you need more money now. So I had
Mm,
to start investing in certain softwares that will help you generate leads so you can be able to close as many deals or get as many lead sources to be able to
mhm.
do what you need to do to get more income coming in. So those softwares come in handy at that time where you can
Interesting.
find out on how to get people to sell their houses to you.
Huh. And what would you say is the biggest roadblock or issue you run into wholesale in the wholesale real estate wholesaling business?
My accent.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I'm surprised. I have no problem understanding you.
Some people do.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, that's really, I think that's the biggest roadblock.
Do you think if you didn't have an accent, you would be able to make more sales?
Yes, I really think
Really?
so. To me.
Really?
hmm
Yeah. Mm. Are you working with a partner or any employees?
No partner, but yes, I
No.
do have, I don't have a big team. I don't want a
Mhm.
big team. I do
Yeah.
have an employee that helps me with setting tasks,
Mm.
but the way my system is set up, I don't really need a lot of employees.
Interesting. So, what does this employee help you with? What kind of tasks?
She helps with administrative tasks.
Mm.
So if we get a property under contract, she knows what to do from there. That's all I
I
need. I just need to get a property under contract, and she gets everything from there to the closing table.
ah. And how much would you say you're generating on average now on a monthly basis?
I would say about 30,000.
Wow.
That now
That's
don't get me wrong. That could come from one deal, or it could come from
yeah.
four deals. But I pretty
Yeah.
much structure my deals in such a way that I'm getting 30,000 if that's the only deal I have to get for the month.
Oh, gotcha. And how much hours are you putting into this on a weekly basis?
It's my full time job.
Yeah. Yeah. But
This is
you're
my 9 to 5.
if you were to compare it to your nursing job, how rewarding is this for you compared to you being a nurse?
This is So I didn't come off my entrepreneur family. First of all, everybody
Mm,
already thinks I'm crazy doing what I'm
mhm,
doing, but it's rewarding in the sense that I can tell somebody else that it's possible. Like,
mm,
hey, yes, it's possible. It can happen for you because it happened for me. You understand what I'm saying? So I can speak with my head up high that it's possible because it happened for me with no miracle, nothing, just
yeah,
hard work and dedication and you know commitment or whatever it's called. But just that gives me a sense of assurance to let somebody else trying to
mhm,
figure it out in wondering if it's possible. This is me assuring them that it's possible. You just need to go out there and believe in yourself
yeah,
because, like I said,
absolutely.
no entrepreneurial background whatsoever.
Yeah. And how are you looking to scale your business going forward?
Going forward, I want to make $1 million next year. So
Yeah, that's a nice goal to have.
I right now I'm looking for a closer that speaks Spanish and English
Mm,
because I am getting a little bit of both right now. So that's the how really what how I'm looking to scale my business. And I'm looking for a closer that I know if I get a closer that speaks Spanish and English, that's it for me. That is
mm,
pretty much it.
mm. And are a lot of your clients Spanish speaking clients?
I'm getting a lot of those now, yes.
Mm. And for people who don't know what a closer is, can you explain?
So closer, when you schedule these mentorship programs and you get a
Mhm.
call from somebody who talks to you over the phone, and next thing you know, you find yourself signing paperwork and paying some for some mentorship. That is pretty much what a closer is. They are really good at niching down to the bottom of this thing, and
Mm.
they're salespeople. You know how salespeople will talk, good, great salespeople who talk you into, you know and now, don't get me wrong, I don't go out there forcing anybody to sell their house. But once you come to me and saying you want to sell your house, it is my responsibility to be able to make sure that we get the property closed. And that's pretty much what the closer is. If somebody goes online and say, I want to sell my house, they get on the phone with them and really get them together on the process of understanding what it takes to sell their house and how they can come on a good asking price so we all
Mhm.
can sell and get them paid.
Mm. Wow. Wow, that's really interesting. So, I haven't done this in a while, but a lot of my viewers ask this question constantly. Like, do you know what your net worth is?
No, I have to Google that. How do you
Girl,
find that
get it
out?
together. Okay. Well, let's do it this way then. Uh, how much are you generating per month? You said about 30,000. And how much are your expenses on a monthly basis?
That's what you meaning. So all I have is now before this, let's put it this way. You cannot have one thing I learned the hard way is having just one source of income because
Yeah.
I think that's what I do now.
Mhm.
So you cannot have one source of income because it takes away everything. So you're like taking from here and putting it where you're not supposed to put it. It's paying your
Yeah.
rent, it's paying your car, it's paying for everything. So imagine if you had your nursing job, right? Your nursing job covers what it needs to cover while your business funds covers what it needs to cover, and then you get your profit and everything else. So
Mhm.
it's the one source of income that is pretty much paying everything, but I would say give and take about 10,000 for
Oh,
expenses.
yeah. Wow. So you're left with 20,000 to reinvest in the business or just spend on personal expenses if you wanted to. Is that correct? Is that about right?
Yes, yes.
Wow. That's $240,000 a year.
Mm.
That's
After the
that's a
IRS.
lot. That's a good amount of money
Mm-hmm.
compared to what you were earning as a nurse. If you think about it now, with your expenses, after you deduct all of the expenses from the money you're generating, you still have $240,000 left over. That's a good amount of money. But
Yeah,
you're aiming
absolutely.
for $1 million a year.
I am. Hey, that is the plan. That is the
Yeah.
plan for 2024. That is the goal. I'm already working towards that. But it comes with a lot of let's go, let's
Yes.
go. It comes to a lot of hard work. It comes to a lot of you reinvesting back into your business to get more leads coming in and you making more phone calls. So one thing I'm always asking myself, I already have my vision board together. I already have my vision board and everything in place. I'm looking at it every morning and I'm like, this is it, millionaire 2024. It's already right there.
Mm,
So a lot of those things come into play, and then now I have to get a team together who can
mm,
help me get to $1 million a year.
mm,
What do I need to get that person to get me to $1 million next year? And that's
mm,
really what I'm focusing on right now. Who do
mm,
I need? And so I'm just affirming to the universe that it's already here and I already have my closer. And together we're gonna work on those on that really
mm.
big goal.
One thing I would recommend is, do you have a course that you offer to people who want to learn to do what you do?
Not yet. I'm working on
Girl.
it. I'm trying. I know.
Okay, let me stop you. Okay, you have $20,000 left over to reinvest in your business. I think one of the things that you need to do is create a course or program to teach others to do exactly what it is that you're doing. You're generating $30,000 per month. If you could teach other people how to generate $30,000 per month with very little to no money down, who would not be willing to pay for that? And you yourself paid for a mentorship program because you thought you could do it with very little to no money down. But Remember, you've spent $5,000. With this information, if you are generating $30,000 a month and you could teach somebody how to do that, they'd be willing to pay at least $10,000 to learn how to do that. You just need 3 people per month to pay that much to make the same amount of money that you're making right now.
That's true.
And if I were you, what I would be also investing in is marketing myself more on social media, just talking about wholesale real estate investing on social media so people can know that that's what I do. And then ultimately, when I do release a course, they will be all in on it.
I'm getting it together. If you have somebody send my way,
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
trying to
I'll
like.
tell you this. So I used to edit all of my videos on my YouTube channel and they would take me forever because not only did I do these podcast videos, but I also used to do like talking head videos where I would talk about the nursing profession and how to make more money. And then it would take me anywhere from like 22 to 32 hours for one video. And I
Mm,
realized this is taking me way too long. And in addition to that, I also had to message nurses and healthcare workers that I found really interesting to see if I can get them on my podcast. And that would take me way too long just to get somebody to say yes. But then I said, you know what? I don't care if I break even every month. I'm going to hire people to do this for me. So I hired a virtual assistant and she does all of the connections for me. She will find so many nurses. Within the last 2.5 to 3 months, I've interviewed enough nurses to have videos until the end of April of next year
mm.
because of her, right? That would not have been possible had I been doing all of that work. In addition to that, once we're done recording this video and I finish recording the introduction, all I have to do is send the video to my editor. And she edits the video. When I first met her, the reason I hired her is because she is very meticulous with her editing. She studied my videos before she sent me a sample edit. And when I hired her, I realized immediately that if I can find somebody who can edit videos in the same way that I edit mine or better, I am going to like make sure that I pay this person a decent salary to keep them with me for as long as possible. So initially, I don't know if you know what onlinejobs.ph is. Have you ever heard of that website?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So on that website, you can hire virtual assistants, editors, people who if you want to build a course, you can hire people who specialize in
Mhm.
building courses and they're all located in the Philippines. So the good thing about that is that the average salary in the Philippines is about $400 per month. I'm paying the virtual assistant $200 every 2 weeks. Every now and then I'll give her a bonus, but it's $200 every 2 weeks, right? And then my video editor, I started her off at around $200 every 2 weeks as well. And I said, you know what? I'll increase it based on your performance, based on how well my videos perform, and based on how much more money I'm generating from the YouTube channel. So immediately after she started posting the videos, I started seeing an increase in my revenue from YouTube. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to increase your salary to 400. And that was within like 2 weeks. Then by the end of the month, I said, you know what? You can help me with additional videos and I will increase your salary again. So then I increased it to $500 every 2 weeks. And then I said, you know what? I'm thinking about hiring another editor to help me with even more videos. And she said, you know what? I'll find somebody and I can help you with that. So I increased her salary to $700 every 2 weeks from $200. And she is on point. She's meets all of my deadlines. She's never late. But now I can focus on just having these conversations with the people that I'm interested in talking with. I can focus on creating more videos and I can edit those other videos myself if I want to. I can just focus on finding more ways to make more money. Like I'm contacting sponsors, I'm having more relationships with companies that want to sponsor our videos. So even though I broke even for a little while, I'm making more money now. And in the future, for sure, because my channel's growing faster, my revenue just keeps increasing, and the output from myself, my time, I spend less time making more money now because I invested in these things. So I think you can 10x your income very quickly if you get some help in creating a course and start creating content on social media so that people can recognize that you are someone to be trusted in your industry.
Thank you. I definitely
Yeah,
will do that. I guess I have to write down on my little notebook, and yeah,
sure.
that's a really good one right there, because I think
Yeah,
I'm just like stuck, like, oh my god, you know, I'm in this belief where if you want it, you will get it. So maybe I think it's time to just really show the nurses that it's possible for them outside of being a nurse. You know, you can have different avenues and different sources of income. Just it gives you that freedom. So yes, thank you. I will look into
yeah,
that
mm,
for 2024.
yeah. I mean, think about it from your point of view. When you found your mentors, you found them online because that's all they talked about. Is they talked about the stuff that you wanted, that you envisioned yourself doing. But if you're not talking about it online, you're not going to be able to sell it to anybody. So you need to, I feel like you need to start soon, sooner rather than later.
That's how I found you. Listen, for real though,
Yeah.
that's how I found you. I was, it was at night and I was on my phone. I think I
Yeah.
had just gotten off a group coaching call, and
Mhm.
it was on my vision board, like scaling my business. And then I somehow got on Instagram. I don't know how. Somehow you popped up on my screen, and I was like, let me check out what he's saying. And then I
Mm.
clicked on your bio, and I clicked on your link that says call me now. So I went to your YouTube, and I'm like, let me find out what he's talking about. I'm like, oh, this is some pretty good information. Maybe he can help me gain exposure to figure out to educate my nurses on what it is I really do. For real
There
though,
you go.
that's really what
There you
happened.
go.
And just
Yes.
watched one of your videos, I think with Nurse Christy. That was
Yeah.
the video I watched with her, and I was really intrigued. I was like, let me schedule this call with him. He knows what he's doing. That was really good information. Thank you for that, for real.
Of course. And you know what? I want my followers to start following you. Okay. So, first, I want you to give them your social media handle and or your website if you have one so that they can start following you there. And then I want you to actually start producing content that they'd be interested in. Okay. So you need to make that promise.
I promise. Okay, I will
Okay.
start producing content,
Okay.
educational content for my
Yeah.
nurses. My social media is Christy Asa, pretty much my name, Christy Asa, ASAH. It's the same on all social media platforms. And you will be seeing more of real estate investing, more gems on how to invest in real estate with little to no money down. And I hope and pray to educate somebody, or at least enlighten one or two people who really want to do what I want to do, and let you know that it's possible for you. Because I started out off of YouTube. $5,000 was my investment, and it has made me a lot of money, and it's still making a lot of money right now. I'm traveling this weekend to Mexico for a solo trip on a yacht for my birthday. I'm so excited. So it's just letting everybody know that it's possible for them to do what they want to do. So I am just out here to just say, whosoever wants to take advantage of it, it's totally up to you. It all depends on how bad do you want it. So you gotta want it enough to go online and take action. You gotta want it enough, like how bad I wanted to meet you or get on a call with you. Nobody pushed me to do that. I wanted
Yeah.
it so bad, and I found you somehow. I wanted it so bad, and I found my mentor so somehow. But now you have exposed me. So whosoever is watching this should be able to not only gain this exposure but take action and get on there to get the help or the mentorship that they're looking for.
If you enjoyed this video, then make sure you subscribe to our channel and watch this video here where I interviewed a travel nurse who lives in an RV and owns 2 Airbnb properties with her husband, who's also a travel nurse and is generating over $20,000 per month doing so.